All right, let's dive right into a really fascinating philosophy that gives us a unique way to handle a very tricky human puzzle.
I mean, really think about that. You know who I'm talking about, right? That person who's always got something negative to say about you to others, but then you catch them watching you, maybe even copying you when they think you're not looking. It's confusing. Well, the Arreqqana tradition has a profound way of looking at this whole situation.
See, they don't just write it off as jealousy or being two-faced. They have a specific name for it. Qesamariin len inkara. It literally means a fire that's turned away from its own warmth. The idea is that their behavior isn't really about you at all. It's about their own inner conflict. A soul that's actually struggling with its own admiration.
Okay, so if that's what's happening, what are you supposed to do about it? Well, this is where it gets interesting. The philosophy lays out two main paths, which are best seen through this legendary debate between two high priestesses, Valasha, who pushes for compassion, and Pepi, who urges caution.
So here's the breakdown of their two big ideas. On one hand, Valasha sees these people as mirror flames. To her, they're just lost souls, confused, and in need of some gentle guidance. But on the other hand, Pepi's saying, hold on a minute, she sees them as potential thieves of warmth, that their conflicted energy can be seriously draining, even dangerous to your own spiritual balance. Valasha's whole perspective is just steeped in empathy. She believes that all that hostility you see on the surface, it's really a cry for help. Her definition of jealousy is incredible. It's just love that's lost sight of itself. So for her, the goal isn't to fight back. It's to patiently help them see their own reflection more clearly. But Pepi, she draws a much harder line. She gets that they're conflicted, sure, but she argues that their fear is no excuse for spreading venom. She warns that when admiration sours into bitterness like that, it can poison the spiritual well-being of anyone who lets them get too close.
And this whole debate isn't just talk, it actually leads to a formal doctrine, a kind of psychological framework for understanding exactly what's going on inside this divided soul.
They call this phenomenon ember reversal syndrome, and they say it unfolds in three stages. First up is shadow envy. This is basically a jealousy that's born from a deep lack of self-love they're not even aware of. Then comes identity mirroring, where they see their own unfulfilled potential in you, and that hurts. And all that pain leads to the final step, emotional displacement. They take that admiration and affection they feel and twist it into aggression, because attacking you feels safer than facing their own shortcomings.
So where does that leave us? What's the right answer? Is it Valasha's compassion or Pepi's caution? The answer is both. The philosophy synthesizes the two into this beautiful principle of compassionate distance. It means you don't have to slam the door on them, but you absolutely have to guard your threshold. You can acknowledge their struggle from afar without letting their chaos become your own.
Now, this whole idea is bigger than just personal advice. For the Arreqqana, it's tied to a spiritual destiny, one that's rooted in a major prophecy.
This quote is from the founder of their entire lineage, the Ember Mother. And what she was doing was foretelling this huge shift in the very nature of power. See, to roar, that's about force, domination, raw power. But to reflect, that's about awareness, understanding, and wisdom. She was predicting a massive evolution in consciousness.
And get this, it wasn't just some vague prediction for the future. It was incredibly specific. The prophecy stated that the 21st flamebearer in her line would be the one to finally embody this new way of being, fulfilling that ancient promise.
So, how did this all play out? Well, the prophecy became real. It was embodied in a single person, Jarru Tarraqhavvezz. We'll just call him Jarru.
From the moment he was born, everyone knew he was the one. In a long line of fiery, passionate leaders, Jarru was quiet, observant, calm. They say that instead of a first cry, a roar, his first act was just a long, steady breath, as if he was listening to the world. The matriarchs knew he was the fulfillment of the prophecy.
The prophecy spelled out three specific signs, or marks, of this listening flame. First, awareness in action, meaning his strength didn't come from knee-jerk reactions, but from clear-headed perception. Second, gentle command. People followed him not because they were afraid of him, but because they felt safe with him. And finally, the most important one, fire that mirrors. Just being around him had a way of showing people their own true selves.
So let's bring this all back together. The debate between compassion and caution, the psychology of the mirror flame, and this grand prophecy, it all points to one final, powerful lesson about the nature of the flame itself.
Remember that big argument between Valasha and Pepi? Well, it resolves with this amazing unison chant, and what it reveals is that both of their views were part of the same truth. The ultimate goal is wholeness. That conflicted mirror flame isn't permanently broken. It's just a part of a greater whole that has temporarily forgotten itself.
And that right there is the ultimate point. The prophecy wasn't about the Ember Mother literally coming back to life. It was about the reconciliation of her legacy. It was about uniting the roar and the reflection, power and empathy, into one. It represents the evolution of consciousness, from a flame that just conquers to one that truly understands.
So after all of that, this philosophy leaves us with a very personal question. In your own life, in those moments of anger or conflict, in your roar, how can you learn to pause, to listen, and choose to reflect instead?